Yo, this is Teresa Weatherspoon, better known as Teaspoon, and you're watching Real Fans, Real Talk.
Live from the can. Vibe you can.
This is Real Fans, Real Talk. Real fans, real talk. We as real as you thought. Real fans.
What's going on? Welcome to another live edition of Real Fans, Real Talk. Man, it feel good to be here on a Monday, man. I miss y'all. We got a lot to get into. Lot in the football world going down right now. NBA, Wemby been setting the tone lately, and unfortunately, we had a tragedy in the boxing world that we're gonna talk about. I seen some of y'all got that in the comments as well. We're gonna get to that. But before we get into all of that, let me introduce my co-host, my brother, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. What's going on?
What's really good, bro? I mean, we here now, man. NFL playoffs right around the corner, and since Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope everybody had a great Christmas.
Yes.
Now that the Christmas Day basketball game's out the way,
Mhm.
we into the thick of the NBA season because as you and I always say, this is the official start of the NBA season.
Yes. And as you guys can see, we're still in the Christmas mode. We still got our decorations up on the screen. You know, people don't take their tree down till June. But yeah, man. It's we gonna definitely get into it. We might as well just start because I see that's actually the first comment up here. Big shout out to my main man Ron. Ron, what's going on, brother? Ron says Anthony Joshua in car crash that claimed lives of his close friends. Not just his close friends. It was one of them was his trainer. They're on his actual like his camp. They're in part of his camp. So that was kind of crazy. Obviously, we all know Anthony Joshua coming off the Jake Paul win. Was that a week and a half ago? And then to be involved in a car accident and two people lose their lives. Definitely want to send our condolences out to all of the families that are involved, all of the friends that are involved. Yeah, this was a crazy story. When I saw that pop up on my timeline, I was just like, wow, that's crazy because it's like you coming off of a really big high, winning that fight, in the fashion that he did against Jake Paul. You go home, you probably still in celebration mode, and then something like this happens. It's a terrible thing.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers go out to the families, of those that lost their lives. All the details have not come out. Only thing I saw so far was that they had crashed into a truck. But again, all the details have not come out. It's very unfortunate because this obviously holiday season, but also this is a week after, they had their big night on Netflix. They get the big bag and, they probably were still in celebration mode. So, only time will tell how this affects Anthony Joshua, how this will affect whatever he had planned for his next move in his career. If he even gets in the ring ever again at this point. But again, thoughts and prayers go out to the families, man.
Yeah. And I want to just, give them their just due. Sinagami and Latif Ayadeli. Anthony Joshua was taken to the hospital as well, just to to get checked on. He is okay though, but they did keep him in the hospital. So yeah, again, I just I send my condolences. That really sucks, man.
Yeah, man.
Like I said, you on an all-time high. You win that boxing match. It's the holiday season. You get to go back home, celebrate with family and friends, and when something like that happens, it's really a terrible thing. Let me see. Okay, I'll see. Will just checked in. What up, Will?
What up, Will?
What it do? All right, man. Let's get to this football talk because that's what the people want to talk about. It's on the rundown. Ron says Garrett says Steelers were more focused on him than winning because Aaron Rodgers might, but I feel like he might have an ego. I could see him being more focused on not getting that record broke on him and on this team. Um, but I would hope, like I really would hope that the Steelers did not look at this game and say, and focus and focus more on stopping Myles Garrett from breaking that record than they were on actually, trying to win the game and lock in the playoff seed. Because if you win this game, it's done. It's over. You
Right.
got to win the division. You know, next week don't matter. So I would really hope that you did not take that chance just because you did not want Myles Garrett to break the record. So I hope that's not the case.
I don't believe that. Miles is saying that obviously because he knows he's close to the record. Pittsburgh did everything in their power to make sure he did not get the record against them. Double teams, triple teams. There was a couple times you saw Aaron Rodgers get rid of the ball quick when he kind of knew Myles Garrett was in the area.
Yeah.
But I highly doubt. I mean, no disrespect to Myles Garrett. He's a great player. He's probably going to be Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh Steelers got bigger fish to fry. They trying to make the playoffs. They're not worried about Myles Garrett and the Browns in the sense of, what's more important, him getting the sack record of us winning. They would have they would have gave him 3 sacks if it meant they could win the game yesterday. They wouldn't have cared.
Now, because here's the other part to that. You are maybe the most feared defensive lineman in football right now, and you don't want to lose your quarterback too. Aaron Rodgers has been injury prone these last couple of years, and Myles Garrett, from what I've seen on the field, look like the brother. If he tackle you, it's gonna hurt. Maybe just a smidge. So what I mean, like as much as that would be funny if that was the case, I would have to lean towards the other way on that one. But, either way, I'm happy with the win. I appreciate you, Myles Garrett. I appreciate you, Shador, and the rest of the Cleveland Browns who were out there, the coaching staff, all of you guys. I appreciate you for the work that you guys put in that helped my Baltimore Ravens stay alive and have a chance to winning to get in. There you go.
Right.
Cheers to those guys, What was your thoughts, though, Eric? Because I know we had a little situation where we couldn't get the money line going on FanDuel because they was playing around. They didn't want to have the Browns and the Ravens on the same ticket together. So what was
so just so we're clear, right? I'm not a big conspiracy guy. I love sports too much to subscribe to that way of thinking, and because again, you're talking about over 100 players on the field. So for people who love to say, "Oh, the script is in," you're telling me all 100 players on the field are buying into this conspiracy, right? I don't think that's true. However, what I think does happen sometimes is that storylines and situations sometimes rule the day. And I think FanDuel, part of my language, showed their ass this weekend. I spoke with you and Will about this because on Saturday evening before the Ravens played, I had already been thinking about it. I said, well, what's the storyline that makes the most sense for Sunday night football? Because Sunday night football, week 18, what they want more than anything is a do or die situation game. They don't want teams that are playing for the division because both those teams are going to be in the playoffs. They want a situation where the winner advances and the loser is out of the playoffs. The Colts were in this situation 2 years ago when Gardner Minshew was our quarterback and we had to play the Texans to get into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So looking at the slate of games this week, it's like the only game that will really fall into that. There was only 2 situations. There was Tampa, Carolina, and there was Baltimore, Pittsburgh. But Tampa, Carolina, more than likely was going to come down to the last week anyway, because again, they still have to play each other week 18. And the only way Carolina could have won yesterday was if they had won and Tampa lost. It was very unlikely that scenario was going to happen because Tampa was big favorites. Even though they did end up losing, they were big favorites. And Carolina was heavy underdogs. Carolina, I think, was like 10-point underdogs to Seahawks. So Vegas kind of already knew that the likelihood of Carolina winning and Tampa losing and eliminating Tampa was out of the question. Those 2 teams are going to play on Sunday for the division. The scenario that made the most sense was if Pittsburgh wins and Baltimore loses, or Baltimore even were to win, But you need Pittsburgh to lose more than anything to create the do or die scenario for Sunday. You could not have it any other way. So when I started talking to you and Will, I just casually threw those two teams in a ticket. And for whatever reason, FanDuel would not allow us to bet on a Ravens money line on Saturday with a Browns money line on Sunday, which would have been like plus 600 because the Browns were plus 230 on their own. Mm-hmm. And at that moment, maybe it was the tequila I had been drinking. I will confess that. But in that moment, I started to feel like, yeah, FanDuel in Vegas already knows what's up. They know that the Sunday night game next week is probably going to be Pittsburgh-Baltimore. And the only way that game means anything is if this scenario plays out. Baltimore wins, Pittsburgh loses. It played out that way. After I saw Baltimore do everything they did on Saturday, I was 1,000% sure that the Browns were going to win. Also, keep in mind, Vegas, like I always say, the line will let you know. Vegas was only giving you like plus 120 on Baltimore to win Saturday, even though we knew all week that Ty Huntley was going to probably be the quarterback. But then as we got closer, then we started to realize, oh, Jordan Love's not going to play. So it's going to be Malik Willis versus Huntley. They were almost giving you damn near even odds for Baltimore to win, which, again, they already knew. Then there's a very good likelihood that Cleveland spoils things for Pittsburgh on Sunday with no DK Metcalf. That's exactly what happened. I'm highly upset that I wasn't able to put those two teams on a ticket together because that would have been a great way to end the Christmas week.
Yeah. Yeah. And just so y'all know, Eric, myself, and Willow, all three in different states.
Yep.
So it's not like it was just a DC thing or just a New York thing.
Nope.
So
it was, and the crazier part about it, like you said, we were in 3 different states, we couldn't do it. But if you took Cleveland, and this was as of Saturday, even before Baltimore played, you could take Cleveland and combine them with any other team. You could take Baltimore and combine them with any other team on the money line. Remember, we tried it on the phone. It was only those 2 teams that you could not combine together on a money line ticket. You could combine any other combination except Cleveland and Baltimore.
Yeah. So it is what it is. Let me jump back up to the top of the comments. Let me see. Squeezy says, should Pitt move on from Tomlin if team does not win AFC North? We've been battling with this one for the past, I want to say 3, 4, 5 years, maybe. But I mean, really, I think since Roethlisberger retired. Yeah, it's time. Same thing we spoke about last week with Baltimore, where it was these are 2 coaches that both have Super Bowls with their respective teams. They've both been there. They're probably the 2 longest tenured coaches in the league right now. I gotta look that up to verify. But if I'm not mistaken, I think they're the 2 longest tenured coaches now that Belichick is not with the Patriots anymore. I think it's got to be those 2. But yeah, they have Super Bowl wins. They have had a lot of playoff success. They've produced MVPs, Defensive Player of the Years throughout their tenure. But at some point you need to change another guard, and I think that it's the time now. And I think that win, lose, or draw, I think it's time for a change.
I think Pittsburgh's in a tough spot regardless. If they win, I talked about this last week, I don't see them as a true threat in the playoffs. Yesterday showed why, because when they play good defenses, like Cleveland has, they can't do anything offensively. And I know there'll be some people, they didn't have DK. What happened to their running game that everybody was so happy about the last 3 weeks? What happened?
Listen,
I just want to know, like I said, this is why I don't think Pittsburgh is a true contender, because you look at the other teams in the AFC, all those teams are sound defensively. There isn't a real slouch that you're going to go up against in the AFC defensively. Now, Baltimore hasn't been great all year, but Pittsburgh wouldn't play Baltimore anyway. But if you're talking about New England, sound defensively, Buffalo, sound defensively, you're talking about Denver, the Texans, the Chargers, those are 3 of the better defenses in all of football. The Jaguars are good defensively. There's not a matchup that Pittsburgh, I think, could go into where Pittsburgh wouldn't at least be a 7-point underdog. So mark my words now. If Pittsburgh were to win next week and make the playoffs, they're going to be at least a touchdown underdog against any other team in the AFC. So I don't take them seriously. Now, in terms of Tomlin, is that his fault? No, that's not his fault. But what is his fault is they have refused to find a young quarterback and develop a young quarterback. They could have drafted Shador themselves. Even if they wanted Aaron Rodgers, they could have drafted Shador. They could have drafted Jackson Dart. You know what I'm saying? There were young quarterbacks that they could have drafted that they could have said, hey, this is our future. We want Aaron Rodgers for this season, but our future is in the hands of this young guy. And they didn't do that. And so now Pittsburgh this offseason is going to be in the same position they've been in for about the last 3 or 4 off seasons, where they're looking for a quarterback to come in. They spent all this money on DK. Granted, after his little incident in Detroit, they might be able to get out of that contract anyway. But for Tomlin, I think the death knell might be that you have failed to invest in a younger quarterback to develop. And now you find yourself in this consistent cycle. Yeah, you win 9 games every year. Great, you've never had a losing season. You know what else you ever had? You haven't had a playoff win in like 15 years.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's going to be his death knell, that they refuse to get a young quarterback in development.
Yeah. And you know, even when you look at Aaron Rodgers, like you bring Aaron Rodgers over, and it's like, all right, one, you literally saw what just happened the last 2 years with the Jets. It wasn't like he was out here cooking, right? You also seen that he was injury prone, and you know he's not going to be your quarterback of the future. You might get 2 years out of Aaron Rodgers, you know, and obviously, you know, Father Time is still undefeated. You know, you're going to start to slow down more and more, but the slowdown starts to speed up the older, you know, that you get. So, you know, I don't know what's going on with the Steelers, but they're going to need a lot of a change in a lot of different areas. So we shall see. Let me just check that. Okay. And let me go to this next comment from Lamar. Lamar says, are the 49ers a real threat to win the NFC? Yeah, they are. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know if y'all wanted me to say, you know, something different, but yeah, they are definitely a threat to, you know, to win the NFC. Like, they have a legitimate defense. They got weapons on offense. They got one of the top tight ends in George Kittle. You know, they have a top running back who's also an MVP, and Christian McCaffrey. They got, you know, a couple of receivers out there that have stepped up with all the injuries and the losses that they've had coming into the season at wide receiver. And they know how to win games. That, and you know, my main man Brock Purdy out here dugging on cats. When you see that happening, it's just like, I believe. I got it.
Yeah, they're a real threat. We have criticized Brock Purdy in the past, and it's not really his fault, but we've always talked about all the weapons he's had and how he's had this like luxury of like he didn't have to carry the team. This year, I think he's shown that he can carry a team. Keep in mind, this year's team, Brandon Ayuk hasn't played all year. They lost Debo in a trade this offseason. McCaffrey was in and out of the lineup early in the season. Kittle has been in and out of the lineup. Yesterday, Trent Williams played one play, and for most of this year, Trent Williams has been in and out of the lineup. And yet Brock Purdy has them on the cusp. They play next week Seattle for the number 1 seed and the division. Brock Purdy has been legit. The 49ers have been legit. And I've only talked about the guys they missed on offense. I'm not even talking about the fact that they've lost 2 All-Pros on defense, right, with Bosa and with Fred Warner, and they still find themselves in this position. I think they are a legitimate threat. Kyle Shanahan has coached this team to 2 Super Bowls before. So for them to have to take this path is nothing new. If they can get the number 1 seed, that'd be great for them to really get their offense as healthy as possible for the playoffs. But I think ultimately they are a legit threat because they have one of the elite head coaches. They have one of the best weapons in all of football in McCaffrey, and Brock Purdy is playing like a top 10 quarterback. I think they are a legit threat in the NFC.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this playoff. All right. The Claw had 55-11 last night. What's so sad is Kawhi missed so many games over his career. He could have been maybe a top 15 to 20 player ever, but not enough games played. Yeah. I mean, you that's the problem. We know that Kawhi is an elite talent. He's elite on both sides of the basketball. He's a defensive player of the year. He's a multiple time champion. he's all NBA, first team, he's all of that. But the problem is when we start getting into like the top 50 to 30 player range, um, you know, those guys have the extended resumes that you're not gonna have because you lost so much time to injury. Same thing with like Kevin Durant, where it's like you could have possibly been higher, when you retire too, but those injuries is going to keep you from getting into the top 10. And I think it's the same. It's the same thing with Kawhi. Like he's a guy who top 10, is talent wise could be in the top 10, but he won't have the resume to match the guys that are ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for Kawhi, the injuries, what could have been, because we know at his prime how impactful he was. And there was a very short period of time there where we talked about him on the same level as LeBron, where we wondered if he was as good or maybe even better, because of what he did in Toronto and being one of the youngest finals MVPs of all time and being a two-time MVP with two different teams. But unfortunately, that is the game. I know a couple of weeks ago we talked about, the woulda, coulda, shouldas with the Penny Hardaways and the Grant Hills. Mm-hmm. And Kawhi is going to be the same way. I think Kawhi will make the Hall of Fame, but the ultimate conversation around Kawhi will be what could it have been had he just been a little bit more durable. Had he been able to maybe get an extra 200 games under his belt, what does the resume look like in terms of stats and accomplishments?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see what's next on the comment list. I keep sending them comments in. We're gonna get more. Don't worry. We got y'all. Right. Shout out to DeLorean. What is the Bears ceiling right now? I'm gonna say championship game is their ceiling. They've gotten better week by week. We spoke about Caleb Williams early in the season. Seemed like he got it together. Offense is clicking. Defense, they play pretty good defense, and they're winning a lot of the games that most would say they shouldn't be winning.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, I'll say championship game is, for me, I think that's their ceiling. I don't know if I'm throwing them in the Super Bowl just yet because, that's a whole different animal, and I got to see how you maneuver through the playoffs first. But I think they can get to a championship game.
I think the Super Bowl is their ceiling. Will they get to the Super Bowl? I don't know. That's a lot to ask for a second-year quarterback making his first playoff type run. Mm-hmm. But the reason I say I think their ceiling could be to make the Super Bowl, again, if you look at the NFC, the best teams to me are the three that are coming out of the West: the Rams, the Niners, the Seahawks. No disrespect to the Eagles. Eagles have not played well for most of the season. And I've said this already, so this is nothing new. Yesterday was another example, Trip, of a second-half letdown. I don't know if you're aware of this. Jalen Hurts did not complete one pass in the second half of that game yesterday.
Listen, and don't talk about Jalen Hurts because we don't need Gilly going crazy.
Well, Gilly's delusional. And I fuck with Gilly, but he is super delusional in this whole campaign. Every time they win, he wants to tag Cam Newton as if Cam was wrong in what he said. Yeah. The Eagles didn't look good yesterday. The Eagles did nothing impressive in the second half of that game. They didn't score in the second half of that game. That's another trend that I've talked about many times this year, Trip, that they're a team that they can get a lead early and then they struggle in the second half, and they should have lost that game. Jalen Hurts threw for 110 yards yesterday, Trip. Saquon, 19 carries for 68 yards. They didn't do anything that was super great. I think when Buffalo throws on the tape when they go to practice tomorrow, they'll probably say, we let a lot of opportunities go by and we should have beat them, right? But if you look up and down the NFC, if you're not talking about anybody out west, I think you got a good shot. I'm not sold on Tampa or Carolina. I'm not really sold on the Eagles. Green Bay is really hurt right now, and I don't think they look anything like the team from earlier this season. So if you're the Bears, who, again, outside of those teams out west, who are you scared of? And one of those teams, the Bears just went toe-to-toe with yesterday on Sunday Night Football. Mm-hmm. So if you're asking me what their ceiling is, I think the most you're going to get out of them is a team that can get to the Super Bowl. I don't think they can win the Super Bowl, but I think they can get to the Super Bowl. Realistically, I think they're going to win probably one playoff game. Again, matchups matter. After next week, and we see who wins the West, we'll get a better idea of where the Bears might be playing their one playoff game.
Yeah.
But if you're the Bears, and I think right now the Bears would be, they're still leading their division, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're looking at being the number 2 seed right now. Realistically, if the playoffs started today, they would be playing Green Bay. I think they can beat Green Bay. They beat them already once this year, and the other game came down to the final possession. So I think they're going to win at least one playoff game, and then it'll be a matter of who they have to play in that second round. Keep in mind that would be in Chicago, so they would have home field advantage along with that typical Chicago weather in January.
Yeah. All right, let's see what we got next. Does Allen have enough help for a Super Bowl run? Yes, he does. Because, and the reason why I say this is because we've seen teams have their defense help push them over the hump to get there. We've seen teams that have no defense have the offense push over the hump, and get to a Super Bowl. So yes, I do think they have enough. I think in football, probably getting an MVP this might be the hardest sport to get an MVP in football, right? So you have an MVP caliber quarterback, and I know you probably got a bunch of B team, number 2 wide receivers. I just realized they had Brandon Cooks out there yesterday. But you've got a really good running back in James Cook, and he's done some amazing thing for Buffalo this season, running the football. He can catch out of the backfield. So when you got a guy like that on offense, yeah, I think they can definitely make a Super Bowl run. They're gonna have to cut down on the turnovers. They're gonna have to not wait until the second half to start, putting in work. So, you know what I'm saying? So, but I think they definitely can go on a Super Bowl run. Because most of the teams that are still here are flawed. So
I think they have enough to go on a Super Bowl run because, again, they probably got the most experienced team in the AFC. And so the only thing that's really been Josh Allen's problem is playing Patrick Mahomes in the past. Yeah. But when you look at a lot of these other quarterbacks in the AFC, these are all young, inexperienced guys outside of Aaron Rodgers, obviously. But Aaron Rodgers is nowhere near, peak Aaron Rodgers. Now, if Lamar and those guys get in, yeah, they could be a threat because we just saw what Derrick Henry can still do. But, I mean, in terms of Bo Nix, he's got one career playoff game. In terms of, one. In terms of Jay Herbo, he's got 2 career playoff games. In terms of C.J. Stroud, he's got 3 career playoff games. Trevor Lawrence, 2 career playoff games. So there's a lot of inexperienced quarterbacks that I think Buffalo can beat. Their head coach is probably the most experienced, again, outside of Tomlin or Harbaugh. You look at anybody else. Sean Payton's got a lot of experience, but obviously that was on the NFC with a more veteran team. This is a much younger team that would be making their first push at trying to become a Super Bowl contender. So there are, I think, opportunities where the veteran part of the Bills can take advantage of some of these other young teams. And again, you're still, like you said, you're still talking about the MVP of the league. You're still talking about one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the league. So does he have enough? Yeah, I would have to say, yeah. You still got James Cook, right? I mean, we
just saw Patrick Mahomes run off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mahomes has had some deep playoff runs with not great talent either. Yeah. So I think they're still in a great position. For me, the key with them is going to be who they have to play. If they got to play, let's say the Broncos right out the gate, that's a tough matchup. Because the Broncos defense is really, really good. Mm-hmm. And you're going up against a veteran head coach who's going to find a way to take away Josh Allen. But any one of these other teams, I would probably like them in a matchup against the Chargers. I would definitely like them in a matchup against anybody out west. Out of the north, whether it's Baltimore, Pittsburgh. If they had to play the Patriots at some point, I mean, you're talking about a third matchup, and they beat the Patriots and they put up 35 points on them the second time they played them. So I like Buffalo a lot. I just think it's going to come down to the matchups and what defense they have to play early on.
Yeah. Let me just throw Will's comment up here. He said the Bears are this year's Commanders from last season. Caleb's redshirt year, being coached by Eberflus in year one, which is starting your career 3 steps backwards. They'll be exposed by San Fran or LA.
I don't agree with that. Will mentioned that a couple weeks ago. I don't agree with that because I think when you look at the way the Bears have played the second half of the season, look at the quality of the competition they played, and they've won a lot of them games. And to say they'll be exposed by the 49ers, they were a play or two away from beating the 49ers yesterday in San Fran.
Yeah.
Right. And they went toe to toe. It was a shootout and they hung with San Fran. So I don't view them the same way I view the Commanders last year, because the Commanders to me were a one-trick pony. They needed Jaden Daniels to play really well for the Commanders to have any type of success.
Yeah.
The Bears defense, they're number one in takeaways. They're a team that causes havoc with their defense as well as creating big plays. And I think in terms of weapons, the Bears' weapons are far better than what the Commanders had last year, right? Terry had a great year for the Commanders, but there's a Bears team right now. Roma Dunzier has been out the last couple of weeks, and they're still putting up 30-plus a game. DJ Moore, Luther Burden, the rookie Luther Burden's been playing really well. DeAndre Swift has been playing really well. Caleb obviously has taken a tremendous leap. So I don't view them in the same way. I think this team is better than what the Commanders were last year. Again, matchups mean everything. But if the Bears are going to be the 2 seed playing the Packers in that first round, I'm willing to bet the Bears are probably going to at least be a field goal favorite, and I would like the Bears to beat them in a playoff matchup.
Yeah. Let me go to Kyrie's comment. He says, would you rather have Trevor Lawrence or C.J. Stroud in the playoffs? I would rather have the Texans defense. I would rather have the Texans receivers. I think Nico is just a beast, and we don't really know what we're gonna get week to week from the Jaguars receivers. But as far as the 2 quarterbacks, I mean, I guess CJ Stroud in the playoffs. I guess, but neither one of them have had that much success where it's like a clear one is clearly ahead of the other one.
They both have 1 career playoff win. Trevor Lawrence has the more dramatic win. He has that one that was the comeback against the Chargers when they were down like 4 scores or something like that. Honestly, based off weapons, I probably would take the Jaguars because outside of Nico Collins, I don't really trust anything else the Texans have. At least with the Jaguars, you got Travis Etienne, you got Jacoby Myers, who's been playing really well. You still have Brian Thomas. So I would probably lean a little bit more towards Trevor Lawrence. But in terms of whole team, coach, defense, everything, I would definitely take C.J. Stroud because I think the Texans, that's one of the premier defenses. I saw a stat where in terms of points allowed, they're the best defense in something like 2009 in terms of points allowed in the season. So they have an elite defense. They have some sound pieces on offense. So if you give me all of that, then I'll take C.J. Stroud in the matchup. But if you're just saying one quarterback for a drive or a quarter, I'd probably say Trevor Lawrence just because I like the collection of weapons they have more around him than what C.J. Stroud has.
All right. Kyrie says, will Week 18 be Rodgers' final game in the NFL? No, I think he'll still try to come back and get next season one more run. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like he's gonna retire right now. And seeing as how your coach just brought Phillip Rivers back, I think he'll wind up finding a job somewhere, whether it be with Pittsburgh again or some other place.
Yeah, I think he'll stick around. They've had some success, they've had some moments, and I still think he showed enough to warrant being on a team next year. If he's in Pittsburgh, I think that's going to be determined by one of Tomlin's there and what other moves they do offensively. Because I don't think he'll come back if they're just expected to be a 8-win team or 9-win team again. He's going to want to try to at least compete for, playoffs and potentially Super Bowl. So I do expect him to be back, though. I think he's shown enough this year to prove that he still has something in the tank. Pause.
Yeah. All right. Is Drake May the NFL MVP right now? I mean, 5 touchdowns might have swayed the ballot in his direction because that was a hell of a game. He's been one of the leading candidates in as far as MVP goes all season. So, you know, yeah, I'd probably say he kind of is that this week's performance kind of pushed him ahead of the Pat, gave him a little breathing room.
I think so. They have a chance to be the number 1 seed. Let's see how that plays out. But in terms of just his own performance, you're talking about 4,200 yards. So he's top 5, right? He's number 3 in passing yards. 30 touchdowns. He's top 3 in touchdowns. For those that like QBR, he's number 1 in QBR. And I think in terms of biggest leap by a team, it's got to be the Patriots. They won 4 games last year, Trip. They've already, they had 13 wins this year. If they win Sunday, they would have improved by 10 wins. I don't even remember the last time there was a team that took that type of jump from one year to the next to have 10 more wins than they did the previous year. Yeah, it's a crazy jump. And he's got the, like you said, he's got the performances. Yesterday, again, of course, it's a bad Jets team, but that's a prime example of we're going to put up a great performance and we'll yuck it up on the sidelines. And everybody got their bonus money, right? Stephon Diggs get his bonus money. Hunter Henry, everybody's happy. Everybody get their bonus money. But I think the fact that you're going to be a top 2 team in the AFC with probably the largest improvement in margin of victory, and you're top 5 in pretty much every statistical category, he is going to be the MVP of this season, in my opinion. I don't see who would be the other guy who's had a better year individually or collectively for their team than him. I mean, you can make the case, our man Matthew Stafford, but are we shocked by anything Matthew Stafford's doing? No, I don't think we're shocked by it. I think Drake May is shocking us, the fact that he's top 5 in all these categories.
Yeah, and remember, with sports, it's also about the narrative.
Right.
When that going from 4 wins to 14, and not really, I mean, obviously they made moves, but nothing. There wasn't nothing too crazy. This is Drake May elevating to an MVP caliber quarterback.
Yeah,
this is what that's the biggest difference with the Patriots team from last year to this year is that Drake May has played like an MVP level quarterback this season.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, Matthew Stafford, if you want to compare them. Now, after tonight, Matthew Stafford should have more passing yards than him because right now Matthew Stafford is just beneath him. Matthew Stafford does have more touchdowns than him. But also, again, narrative. I think if the Rams are the number 1 seed, best record coming out of the NFC, then that might sway some people. But I just think overall the improvement for Drake May from last year to this year. And again, the only real change to that offense was bringing in Stephon Diggs. It's not like they went and got a bunch of weapons. They brought in Stephon Diggs, and
it wasn't like when the Bills brought in Stephon Diggs and his prime peak level. This is still good Stephon Diggs, but it wasn't that.
Right.
So shout out to Drake May, man. Now, if he don't get MVP, he better get most improved. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what Pooh says. Shout out to Pooh. She says Spurs beat the Thunder for the 3rd time. What's giving OKC problem from the Spurs? Would you pick the Spurs in the series yet? Yeah. Yeah, I'll pick them in the series. What's giving OKC problems? Well, there's a guy that we think is an alien. He's from France, and his name is Victor Wembanyama. That's what it is. Because the Spurs don't have this great deep roster of talent. They pretty much got like a core 6, maybe 6.5. But it's Wemby. Wemby is such a difference maker, no matter who they're playing. But it really just seems like they have OKC's number. I don't know what it is, but it's bad because you've lost 3 times now in a week and a half. That's damn near a playoff series right there. Y'all would have been down 3-0 if we was in the playoffs, And the part that makes it worse is Wemby's on a minutes restriction.
Yeah.
He's coming off the bench in these games. So you're not even getting 40-minute Wemby. You're getting 23 to 25-minute Wemby. And like, it's looking like they are clearly the better team. And you guys have been running through the league. And now, I think about 75% of your losses this season, they came to the Spurs. It's crazy right now how dominant San Antonio has been over OKC, because we've been talking all season about how dominant OKC has been over the league, and then all it took is Wemby to come back, and we done ran off 3 straight against y'all, and and everybody looking like, wait, what happened? What?
Yeah,
it's the Wemby factor.
The thing that's really giving them the most trouble is the Spurs' ability to defend. And I told you guys after the Knicks played them in the Cup, I came away super impressed by the Spurs, their ability to defend, and all the versatility they have out there on the court. De'Aaron Fox came into the league from Kentucky as a great perimeter defender. But when you look at him and Stephon Castle and the way they hassle you and they pick you up pretty much full court, and then you can't switch off of them, because if you try to switch and think, I'm just going to run a high pick and roll with a big man, well, then you're going to get Wemby on you, and you don't want that matchup. And then if you go, whether it's Vassell, whether it's Dylan Harper, whether it's Harrison Barnes, these are really good defensive players that you're switching off of. So it's very tough to kind of pick at what I love to call pick the scab and find the weakling and then just attack them. They can't do that against this defense.
Because everybody's a
sound defensive player.
Starting 5 or two-way players.
Yeah, everybody is a defender on this team. And I think that's what's giving them the most trouble. Shea is going to get his shot. But Shea has to work extremely hard, to get his shots or get on this defense, because there isn't the quote-unquote weakling that you can just attack the whole time. The second part of it, like I said, because they're so good defensively, now you would think, all right, well, we'll try to take advantage of them on the offensive boards. Wrong. You're not, because Wemby is cleaning up the glass now. And really, that was the only way that the Knicks were able to beat them in the Cup. Mitchell Robinson was so good on the offensive glass in that Cup game that the Knicks, even though the Knicks were missing a lot of their initial shots, they were able to get second and third opportunities to clean it up. OKC isn't doing that. So now you're getting held to one and done. Now here come the Spurs the other way. And then on the flip side, the Spurs have a very unique dynamic, like you said, of these two-way players, because on the offensive end, everybody knows about Wemby. But you got all these multiple shot creators. Dylan Harper can get his own shot. Stephon Castle can get his own shot. De'Aaron Fox can get his own shot. So now the same way you're trying to attack their scab on the other end, which you can't, they can do the same thing to you with all these multiple creators and ball handlers. So they are an extremely tough matchup for the Thunder. I talked about it before Christmas. I said they were going to beat them again. It's not only that they beat them, Trip, they've blown them out in the last 2 games. Them games ain't even close. And OKC, who is so dominant against everybody else, is getting dominated by the Spurs. The Spurs are legit. The Spurs are going to be a major, major problem come playoff time. You're gonna have to find a way. Any team's gonna have to find a way to attack them effectively and efficiently, because again, they're going to cause a lot of headaches for teams. In a series, I would still give the respect to the champs, because keep in mind, I think in 2 of those matchups, Jalen Williams did not play. So I would have to double check, because I know in the first matchup he didn't play against them, and I'm not sure if he played in the Cup matchup against them. But that might be a 7-game series, Trip. The Spurs might be that close where that's a 7-game series against Oklahoma City, who we all feel is the best team in the NBA.
Yeah. My thing is, what can you do with a guy who is 7'5", has handles, rebound, block shots, and he can hit it from the logo? What the heck you gonna do with somebody like that, bro? How you gonna stop? They haven't found the answer. I guess the only team they got the answer for it right now is the Knicks.
Yeah.
Because what I saw Wemby do the other night, I'm talking about this guy blocked 3 different guys. This is all on one possession. Block 3 different guys, then run down and shoot from the logo and make it.
Yeah.
No problem. Let's get to the next. Because that's yeah, man, that's tough. I don't even know what to say to that one. Let's see. All right, let me go to Hoop Central. Hoop Central, what's good, bro? He says, where do you all have Kevin Durant in the MVP race? Was great for KD as he's surrounded by young dogs. That's what Stephen Curry needs, young dogs like KD has. Well, he can't just be young; they got to be good too.
Right.
Houston was already we knew they was good from last
This
year.
was pretty solid, right?
Yeah, as far as the MVP race goes, though, well, my top three in the MVP race right now is Luka, Shea, and Jokic, and he's not in the top three. So if you want to put him in the fourth spot or the fifth spot, I guess. But yeah, but for me, he's not in my top three, so it don't even matter.
I agree. We talked about this. If it wasn't on Wednesday, it was definitely last Monday when we talked about the top three is the same. I think it's Shea, Joker, Luka. For me, Jalen Brunson somewhere in that top five, either number 4 or number 5. If you want to put KD there, I'm okay with that. You know, KD has been great this year, so if you want to put KD in that top 5, I'm fine with that. But I just think the top 3 guys are on a different level from everybody else, and that's coming from a Knicks fan. Luka, Shea, Joker, they're in that one tier by themselves, and then everybody else is kind of behind them, trying to see if they can get in that conversation.
There you have it. Let me see. Let's go. Of course, Imani will post this question up here. Shout out to Imani. She says, "Did you all see the fight between Jose Calderon of the Pelicans and Mark Williams of the Suns? What was Mark Williams doing? I have no idea because Jose Calderon is about 6 foot and he was catching. Oh, excuse me. Jose Alvarado is like 6 feet tall and he was catching Mark Williams. I'm like, yo, how are you getting caught like this, bro? Like you 7 feet, you gotta at least be able. You know how like you do the kids and you have them like in the movie and like you have your hand right here, and it's just swinging all crazy. Well, like you gotta be that at least.
Well, Trip, where's Jose Alvarado from?
He's from Puerto Rico.
He's from the Bronx.
That's
why Mark Williams ain't know what to do with him.
He used to pull up to Boiling for Peace, as a matter of fact.
That's why Mark Williams ain't know what to do with him.
Yeah, that's
I think he's Puerto Rican, so we're gonna claim him.
Well, that's gonna double down then if that's the case.
You Puerto Rican from the Bronx. We gonna punch you in the face a couple of times. That's just how we give it up. Pause. So Mark Williams, first of all, was looking crazy out there with the wild swings and just the antics, the way he was looking. But Jose Alvarado he's an agitator. He's a guy who gets under your skin. Pause. That's what he's always been known for. He's got into it with plenty of other guys in the past. And for Mark Williams, I mean, it got to be embarrassing. Like you said, you 6'11", and you letting this 6 foot dude kind of bully you in that way, and then land a couple clean shots on you too.
Yeah, I was embarrassing, bro. I remember when I was a kid, one of my boys, when we was young, we was in like junior high school. He was like maybe 6'2". He was like a year too older than me, and he had got beat up by this kid that was my height or a little bit shorter than me. And I just felt so bad. Like, you know, when you see one of your boys get their ass whipped, you kind of just got to put your head down in shame and just walk off. And that's what it was. So I hope that kid is good now. I ain't seen him since then, I don't think. Shout out to Dion Hoops page. Christmas Day games, Rockets versus Lakers. Were you shocked at how the Rockets put it up? Yeah, just skip that part. Thoughts on JJ Redick's comments afterwards. Does JJ need help to help? Wait, what? Oh, needs to be held accountable too. And Reeves will be out a month. I mean, I'm not shocked. The Rockets are a really good team. Like what? Like, are we like? I feel like the Rockets should be doing even better than they are doing. Like that's how good they are. Even without Fred VanVleet being there, like you got Kevin Durant with the team that was in what, second place last year?
They had the number 2 record last year.
Yeah, like no, I'm not shocked at all. JJ need to be held accountable. I mean, JJ usually does take accountability for things. He's not one of them that be ducking away from accountability. So I that part, I don't know about. And yeah, and Austin Reeves being out, that's gonna suck for the Lakers because he's been balling. He's right now he's 11th in the league in scoring, so they're definitely gonna miss having their third. You know what I'm saying, offensive weapon.
First off, yeah, losing Austin Reeves was big for this team. Austin Reeves was playing great, and this is a team that doesn't have a lot of depth. So to lose Austin Reeves, you can't replicate those minutes. You can't replicate what he gives you offensively. In terms of the Rockets, I'm not shocked because I feel that the Rockets are one of the top 3, top 4 teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
And for the shout out to the On Hoops page, because I know he's been locked in with us for quite some time. But as a lot of the other supporters know, we talked about this when the whole return of LeBron, and we said this was going to be a tricky spot for the Lakers because LeBron was going to have to kind of fall in line. And I think that goes back to his question about does JJ need to be held accountable? I mean, yeah, any head coach needs to be held accountable. The real question is, why have the Lakers struggled so much since LeBron has come back? They've been a 500 team since LeBron has come back. And I think a lot of it has to do with roles not being properly identified. I think guys are still trying to figure out where they fit in with LeBron and Luka, and kind of the power struggle within that locker room of who's the man.
Mm-hmm.
There was a situation a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about it right here, where JJ Redick, after the game, talked about how during the technical foul, Luka was supposed to go shoot the foul, and LeBron just walked over there and shot it. And then when the reporter asked LeBron, he goes, "Why wouldn't I shoot it?" So there is a power struggle taking place in LA right now. And them losing to the Rockets, I'm not surprised by it. Them getting blown out, maybe a little surprising that they got blown out in that fashion. But again, I think that goes back to this team still doesn't know their true roles. Everyone doesn't know where they fit in. And so until that gets established, they're going to keep having those type of nights. They might be good one night. They're going to be bad the next night. They're going to struggle for a long course of the season. So without Austin Reeves and without clear roles on this team, it's going to become a long season, I think, for JJ Redick. They're going to have to figure something out really quickly before it starts to fall apart.
Yeah. Will says the buzz in Browns country is Tomlin to Cleveland after being fired by Pittsburgh. He jumped at the chance to coach Myles Garrett and turn the franchise around and stick it to the Steelers. I mean, hey, you finally got your young quarterback that you wanted. If he does that, and honestly, I kind of like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the Browns could use a coach like Mike Tomlin. And it does, I mean, he was in Pittsburgh for a long time, but hey, they let you go. You free man, you do what you want to do. So, you take the Browns job. I ain't mad at you. Get that paycheck.
I think he would be intrigued by the job. I think he would only take it, though, based on how much control they would give him over the roster. Again, he's never had a losing season in Pittsburgh. So if you want him to come in and kind of change the culture and turn you into a perennial winner, you're going to have to give him some control. It's got to be more control than you're just a head coach. You're probably going to have to give him the keys to the organization. And that's something that Jimmy Haslam, their owner, is going to have to figure out. Do we want to just hand over the keys and make him kind of the de facto GM as well? Because Myles Garrett on the surface, it'll be great to coach him. But outside of that, this team is very, very young, Trip. When you look at the amount of young players, they got a rookie middle linebacker. They got a rookie defensive tackle in Graham. Obviously, you got a rookie quarterback. You got a rookie running back. You got rookie receivers. There's a lot of youth on this team.
Isn't that tight end a rookie too? Not in the joke.
Yeah. The other kid, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of young guys, and it's beneficial that they're getting all this playing time.
Yeah.
But if you're Tomlin and I'm coming into that situation, it's like, cool. But this team ain't ready to even win 8 games yet. This is probably still a team that could only win 6 or 7 games anyway. Mm-hmm. I'm going to need a little bit more control over the roster construction and bringing in the right guys to turn this organization around. Because in the words of Will Gordon himself, it's been lose forever. Cleveland has been losing for a very long time over there. And bringing in Mike Tomlin alone doesn't turn you into a winner. It's going to be the development and the roster construction that'll change things there.
Yeah. Lamar wants to talk about Rich Paul's comments. He says, with the game on the line, taking the last shot, he would pick Michael Jordan over LeBron, which is a duh. But when Rich says stuff, it's calculated. I mean, I don't know how calculated we are. That's his opinion. He probably grew up watching MJ. And I don't know has Rich Paul even ever said who his GOAT was? Did he say who he had as his GOAT? Because I don't think
I think in the past he said that LeBron was his GOAT, because I know he co-signed the whole when LeBron and them came back 3-1 against the Warriors, that made him the greatest player. He's co-signed that in the past, so I'm assuming that's who he still has as his GOAT.
But I mean, listen, that's the preference. Listen, there's guys out here that's going to pick Kobe to take the last shot over Mike or Steph over somebody. You know what I mean? Everything is not a conspiracy theory. Like, if that's who he would have take the last shot, okay, whatever. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't think there's no conspiracy to it. I do think it is slightly calculated, though, because there's a little bit of a PR move, right? Like, Rich Paul's in a no-win situation. If he says, oh, LeBron, I'll take LeBron, everybody's going to be like, of course you take LeBron. That's your guy. Here goes another platform supporting LeBron James. Mm-hmm. If he says anybody else, then it turns into this type of news. The only reason I say it's a little calculated because I do feel like LeBron and his camp are trying to do a little bit of damage control. There's been a lot of LeBron fatigue the last couple of years. Some of it rooted in just that he's been in the league so long. Some of it rooted in his own antics and some of the things that LeBron has done himself. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Rich took this as an opportunity to kind of take the heat off of LeBron and like, hey, we're just having a regular basketball conversation. It's got nothing to do with LeBron. And yeah, I would take Mike to take the last shot, just so that it doesn't become more that people can pile on about the talk when it comes to LeBron James.
Yeah. Will says, is Dan Campbell soup on the hot seat? His team hasn't been the kneecap since Ben Johnson went to Chicago, and look at the results. Bears are climbing, Lions are out. Goff had a good enough year too. Yeah. This is a tough, because they have, at least on paper, probably a top 5, maybe even top 3 offense. I don't know what happened with the defense. We know what happened with the defense. The coordinator left, but he's definitely on the hot. Listen, if you ain't winning, you on the hot seat. It is what it is. You are on the hot seat, bro.
I think he's on the hot seat a little bit because they're not going to make the playoffs, obviously. So you gotta question what's going on there. Mm-hmm. But in terms of like, has he done a good enough job? I think he's done a good enough job. Just what happens sometimes in the NFL, you get unlucky. And I know a lot of people are going to talk about what Ben Johnson has done in Chicago, and rightfully so, because we know how bad Caleb looked last year. Mm-hmm. But on the surface, Trip, real talk, the Bears this year, they've scored 425 total points. The Lions have scored 462 total points. So the Lions' offense was fine. In terms of defense, the Bears has given up 396 points. The Lions have given up 397 points. They're pretty much the same team. The difference is that the Bears had a little softer schedule because they were playing a 4th place schedule in comparison to the Lions, who played a 1st place schedule. In terms of point differential, which to me is really the outlier and who are the good teams and who are the bad teams. Just to give you an example, the best 2-point differentials in the NFC, the Seahawks are plus 181, the Rams are plus 158. The third best point differential is the 49ers plus 76, right? So I got to talk about those 3 teams in the West, to me, are the best teams in the NFC. The 4th best point differential in the NFC is the Lions, plus 65. They've got a better point differential than Green Bay, than Philly, than Chicago. The difference is that they've had bad luck at the end of some of these games. And that's really what's been their downfall. Yeah. We're not making excuses for the refs, but we know that game against Pittsburgh really hurt them in terms of where they thought they were going to go in this season. But they had a close game that they lost to the Rams this year. Obviously, they had the close game they lost to the Steelers this year. They had a close game they lost to the Eagles this year. They had some tough luck in some of these games that I think ultimately when the emotions settle down in Detroit and they analyze the season, they're going to say, hey, we expected to be better, but we're not far off track from where we thought we were going to be. We're
Yeah,
still
like, I feel like they'll be back in the playoffs next year.
right. That's what I'm saying, because as you said, you're still talking about one of the top 5 offenses in all of football, right? And to Will's point, Golf had a good enough season. Golf is number 2 in passing yards this year. So the real question is, how can we revamp our defense? It's what cost them their game against the Commanders last year in the playoffs, because the Commanders dropped a 40-piece on that defense. It's really been their struggle this year. How can we be a little bit more sound defensively and then just continue to build on what we're doing offensively? So the seat got a little warm, pause. I'm not going to say it's a full hot seat, though, because you have to also look at the totality of the resume. What was this team before Dan Campbell took over? This was a team that was 1-15.
Yeah.
Right. And in a few short years, he got them multiple playoff appearances. They were in the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. So I don't think Detroit will move on from him or will put the pressure on him. It's going to be a matter of just tweaking some things. Now, if they miss the playoffs next year, that changes scenarios. But right now, I think his job is still secure enough, and I expect him to be back in the playoffs next year.
Kyrie says, do the Knicks need to make any moves by trade deadline, or is this roster good how it is? The only move that I would say make is if Giannis becomes available. Because I'm sorry, I've been watching a couple of these games, and I don't know what the heck Towns be doing on the defensive side of the basketball, bro. I'm sorry. I tried to give him a chance. I really been trying to give him a chance. And it's like sometimes I watch, like, you know how we was watching in the playoffs, when Dallas lost in the finals, and it was like Luka was just standing there watching cats run around him. It's been too many times this season where I've seen Cat just standing there watching cats go right around them. And like it's like you're not even making an effort. It's not even that you're bad defensively. You're not making the effort defensively, and that's an even bigger problem.
Here's the thing. If you're gonna make the trade for Giannis, what are you giving up?
Towns.
And what else? Because let's start right there, right? Is Karl Anthony Towns as good as Giannis?
Is he? I don't know about. Nah, he's not as good as Giannis.
He's not. And this is coming from a Knicks fan. He's not as good as Giannis. Yeah. So you're not. If you're Milwaukee, right? Cat is good, of course. Yeah. Cat is an all-star.
He ain't Giannis,
but he's not Giannis. We know that.
He ain't first team All-NBA.
If you're Milwaukee, why would I make that trade straight up? Because keep in mind, Milwaukee doesn't even have their first-round pick this year.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, we could just take Cat, and if we don't make the playoffs, we'll be in the lottery. No, you don't have the pick. So getting Cat literally makes you good enough to not be the number 1 pick, because Karl Anthony Towns is good enough that you're probably still going to win 35 games with Karl Anthony Towns, but you're never going to be good enough to get the number 1 pick. So Cat alone doesn't do it. So now it's like, what else can we add on? Right? If you're Milwaukee, the Knicks don't have a pick that entices you. Aside from the picks that they already gave up to get Karl Anthony Towns, the Knicks are going to be a playoff team themselves. So no first-round pick from the Knicks is going to make sense for you.
Yeah.
So what are we trading for? Are we asking for Bridges? Are we asking for OG? Are we asking for Mitchell Robinson to be included? How many players now can we actually be included? And at that point, if you're the Knicks, you're going to be like, all right, now we don't even look like the same team anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
It would have to be 2 players, obviously Cat being one of them, and then either Bridges or Hart or one of them other guys.
If I'm the Knicks, I'm not making a trade. And I think Giannis is great. I've said before, Giannis is a top 5 player in the league.
Yeah.
I think the thought of Giannis and Brunson playing together does sound amazing, but I'm not making a trade. I'm sorry. I watching this team night in, night out, watching the trust that Mike Brown has in the bench now, right? Mm-hmm. With Clarkson, with Kolek, with Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench.
Clarkson doing this thing.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I look at this team, and if I'm the Knicks, the reason I don't make the trade is because I think you can clearly win the East with the team. I've said this all since the start of the season. The Knicks are the best team in the East. They proved it again on Christmas. Look at the runs. Cleveland had 2 different opportunities in that game where Cleveland was up 18 points. And when the Knicks flipped the light switch on them, that was it. Once the moment the Knicks turned up the pressure on them, that was it. The Knicks have depth. They have shooting. They have all the pieces to win the East. I think going into a finals matchup, the Knicks will probably be underdogs against the best teams in the West. Whether you're talking OKC, whether you're talking Denver, maybe they'll be favorites over Houston. But I think OKC and Denver, the Knicks would be underdogs in those series going into those matchups. So if you're the Knicks, why am I forcing a trade? I can win the East as currently constructed. I can win the East right now. So let's just go win the East and then kind of see what the matchup looks like. Because guess what? Last year, nobody thought Indiana stood a shot against OKC, and they were in Game 7. And a lot of people feel like if Tyrese Halliburton don't get hurt, they got a legit chance to win that game. So if I'm the Knicks, if we're talking about what a move you can make, I would say really the only move you probably would make is maybe to get another defensive rebounding big. And that's only because Mitch Robinson in the past has shown that he struggles to stay healthy. When Mitch is healthy, Mitch is a true defensive difference maker with his shot blocking, with his rebounding. You're talking about a guy who comes off the bench and can get you 10 to 12 rebounds every night. And mind you, you don't even have to run any plays for Mitch Robinson. He'll just go get it off the glass. But the improvement of Tyler Kolek, I think, has been a pleasant surprise. Like you said, Jordan Clarkson is looking like a potential 6th man of the year. And then the pieces just fit so right. Everybody knows it's Brunson's team, but at any given moment, OG can give you like 28 points like he did in the NBA Cup championship. Bridges can knock down threes. Towns, you know what Towns can do. Josh Hart is the ultimate like Swiss Army knife in terms of rebounding, scoring, assists. So I think the team is good as is. If you want to go add just a defensive big as an insurance policy, because Yabusele has not played well, he was supposed to be that. If you want to do that, that's fine. But I would not make the drastic move for Giannis. I would stay away from that move.
Right. Hoop Central says, legend Kevin Garnett says that Steph Curry is the GOAT of the era. And a ton of people say Curry is the best. Are we not appreciating Steph's greatness enough? Well, my first question is, which era is he referring to when he says that? Like, are we talking 2010 to 2020? Like what's the time frame that you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, he's got to be talking from the time Steph got in the league, right? So that's just that 2009, 2010?
From 2009. When did Bron win his first championship?
Bron got his in what, 2011, 2012? That 2011, 2012 season, the second year Miami.
Oh, so then he can't be the GOAT of this era. Then if that's because then that means LeBron, because that all of LeBron's success would have came in that era then. Mm-hmm. So I can't put him ahead of LeBron because one, he don't have the accolades that LeBron has. But if you want to argue that he's the second, best from that time, then yeah. And then if you're talking about the GOAT, just period, obviously I don't think Steph is in that conversation either. You can't even be in that conversation if you're not the best at your position. And Magic is ahead of him. New generation, they don't know Magic, but Magic is still ahead of Steph. His resume is better than Steph Curry's. I'm sorry. Steph is the greatest shooter of all time. That's not going to change anytime soon. But if we're talking about the point guard position, Magic has the better resume. So he would be number 2 there. Now, as far as appreciating Steph's greatness, yes. Everybody appreciates Steph's greatness.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think
that's not a debate. I don't think anybody disrespects. Like, Steph don't even get, like, how like Kobe's got a lot of hate. Bron, you know what I'm saying?
Nobody hates Steph.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like, nobody hates Steph.
You know what I'm saying? How can you hate on Steph? You know what I'm saying? So that is not the case. Definitely, everybody gives Steph his respect.
Shout out to Hoop Central. We all appreciate Steph's greatness. But you're right. If we're talking the specific era, it's LeBron's era. And I think the better case is that Steph changed the game of basketball. Mm-hmm. That's no debating. I think Steph, like when we used to make this conversation about Allen Iverson about, pound for pound, I think pound for pound, Steph is arguably the greatest of his era and one of the greatest of all times. But again, in his era, LeBron has just as many championships with more finals appearances. LeBron has the better accolades, and LeBron has had the stronger run. And this is, I don't want to knock Steph Curry, and I don't want to turn this to Steph versus Bron, but how many times has Bron missed the playoffs in this era, in this so-called era? One time, right? I think his first year with the Lakers, right?
Yeah.
We know that Steph has missed multiple playoffs throughout his career. And I also think this conversation, if we're going to say his era, I don't even think we can't even say his era, because Steph didn't even become Steph until like 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
So we're really talking about Steph over the last 10 years, as opposed to him being in the league 16 years. In the first 6 years, we didn't even have this conversation about Steph.
Yeah,
so I don't think you can put the two. If you want to say over the last 10 years, he's been the most important player and the biggest game changer, yeah, you could say that. But the era is still LeBron's.
Yeah. I know Will don't like that, but it is what it is, Will. I'm sorry. All right, let me see. Let me go to Imani. She says, so Deion Sanders dating the former
I was waiting for this question.
girl of Chris Brown.
Mm-hmm.
What can they have in common? These OGs dating these babies. Well, first of all, she's 37. She ain't no baby.
Right.
All right. That's first and foremost. Now, is Deion a little bit older than that? Yes, he is. But realistically, how old is Deion?
He's probably like in his mid 50s. I'll say like 56.
Yeah, like nah. So all right, Deion is 58, so he's 21 years older than her. But it's not. See, this is different than, like, let's say a Shannon Sharp dating a 22-year-old.
Completely different.
You know what I mean? Like, this is not that. She's 37. Okay, she's definitely lived. You know, women specifically, you know what I'm saying, date older a lot anyway. And like I said, she's 37. If she was 21, 22, then it's like, all right, Deion, come on, bro. Like, don't get caught up out here. Like, you know they coming, right? But she's 37. She got her own thing going on. You know what I'm saying? This is not just some random Instagram, OnlyFans model.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know, she has her lane. She's an actress. She's doing a thing. You know, so you know, you like it, I love it. It is what it is.
This is my thing. Shout out to Monty. And if Monty, if you're still on the live, I want you to comment on this as well. One, to say what can they have in common? I mean, we don't know the circumstances of how they even met. It's possible they may have met a couple years ago and maybe just started dating, you know, but throughout the process, they probably realized, hey, we do have a lot in common. We maybe share a lot of the same interests.
And they could have a lot in common. That's
right. Two, that her wording on this is a prime example of like clickbait. These OGs dating these babies. She's 37 years old.
Yeah.
Right? If anything, why aren't we asking the opposite? Why aren't we asking, why does Karuchi want to date a man in his 50s? Right? Because to Trip's point, she's dated other celebrities. She's been in the limelight. So why is it that she's attracted to a man that's almost, you said, how does Prime, you said?
Yeah.
So why is she attracted to a man that's 21 years older than her? Exactly. Especially, again, she ain't young. She, like, in terms of, like, she's not in her 20s. She's experienced life. She's been in the limelight for quite some time. She's had other celebrity relationships. So why is she so intrigued by a man that's 21 years older than her?
Exactly, because black don't crack.
Right, but I'm saying we're trying to put the blame on Prime as if like he's like taking advantage of her. And on the flip side, bro, she's 37 years old.
Exactly.
Maybe she prefers her men to be older. Maybe she likes the fact that Deion lives a much slower lifestyle than a lot of the guys who are her age or within her field. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Now, if you tell me that Deion's known her for 20 years and then they just started dating, then maybe I'll look at it differently. Like, damn, Prime, so you know her since she was young and now y'all dating. But if you're telling me they just met, you know, and started dating now as she's 37 and he's 58, I don't think that's out of the norm, because there's a lot of these women out here who are dating older men who have professionally had a lot of success as well. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all. Do you think Dion? All right. Oh, and another thing I just realized, me and Dion got the same birthday.
This the other thing we talking about this. I didn't see y'all have no problems with Drea dating homie that's with the Suns now. When Drea damn near 40 and he 23.
Word. That's a little bit close. You know what I'm saying? Where you should be like, well, that's a baby. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. Will says, oh, this is about Wemby. Only shot you have of slowing down Wemby is him slowing himself down. If he would play with his back to the basket early in games, they'd be unstoppable. But he won't. So there's still hope for scorers.
No, I think he's made the effort, and I talked about this early in the season that he's developed a little bit more of a nastiness to his game. But I also think that Wemby is so skilled that it's tough to ask him to just become one-dimensional and just play with your back to the basket. Like Trip highlighted that play earlier. You know, when you a guy who got that much range on your shot, you're never just gonna let me get down on the block and call for the ball. You're gonna show the whole skill set. So I think he's made more of an effort, but we also got to appreciate the fact that he's so talented. He's always going to want to do all those things. He's never just going to be a back to the basket guy and take 15 shots from within the paint.
Yeah. So listen, when you're shooting from the logo, you do what you want, okay? Sorry. Right. All right, now we're talking my main man. Cooper Flag is probably, I don't think it's probably. He is. Bar a major injury, he gonna be rookie of the year. Right. But my guy Derek Queen is just as much a problem and has a case to be better long term. He's an old head super skill, size, IQ, and smooth as puppy. No, I don't know. I don't know about that. Like I think he could be good long term, but Cooper Flag gonna be different. Like it's clear. That he's different. Like, nah, I'm not taking nobody in this class ahead of Cooper Flag. I know things started out slow, but that was Jason Kidd trying to force him into the point guard role. And once they stopped that and they just let him hoop, you see what's going on right now. He's throwing it on everybody, and he can play on every level. He can shoot the three. He got a little mid-range game. He can get to the basket. If you want to post, he can do a little bit of everything. And he plays defense too. And that's the other thing. He's no slouch on defense.
Derek Queen is amazing, and I think it's been a great rookie season for him. Long term, I don't think he has a potential Cooper Flag as a player. Not only that part of it, but I also think organizationally, the Pelicans have shown nothing to make me believe that they're going to develop Queen, put him around the right coaching, and really kind of unlock his full potential. Whereas Cooper Flag, I think, is just organizationally, Dallas is a better organization that's going to give him more opportunities to show the full array of talent. Yeah. So to me, it's tough. Derek Queen is good. I don't have him on that same level as Cooper Flag.
Yeah. Kyrie said, I guess in regards to the Steph comment, when they say era, I'm guessing 2015 till 2024. But you can't do that. Your era is from when you come into the league. We can't just, all right, we're not going to count the first half of your career. That don't count.
If that's the case, then we don't count those first couple of years when Braun was in the league. We only count from the time he won the championship.
Yeah, like no, that's not how that works. I'm sorry, KG, but I can't get with that. All right, let me see. Let's take this last comment from Will, and we're gonna get ready for the final thought.
And I agree with this.
Will says it's always the ladies bringing up who these athletes be cracking when the ladies are younger. They'd be hating if he was dating Sister Pearl from the church. Was it the same energy for Jalen and Drea? Exactly.
That's what I was saying as well.
When it's an older man with a younger woman, ain't nobody listen. And y'all better not say nothing when me and Oprah start rocking. I don't want to hear it. Okay, all right. I'm gonna get all of the money that was going to Stedman. Okay, what we talking about here? Yeah, that's that's the double standard, man, that we gonna have to face.
Yeah.
It is what it is. All
Yeah.
right.
I mean, yeah, like you said, it is what it is, bro. We gonna people who's gonna pick and choose no matter what.
Yeah. All right, Eric, give us a final thought, man.
As always, shout out to the supporters. We greatly appreciate you guys, man. I hope you guys had a great Christmas, and I hope you guys have a safe and happy New Year. We're probably not going to record this Wednesday because I do have family in town for the New Year. So, but if we do, we'll put a post about it, and I'll speak to the guys off air. But more than likely, we probably won't record. So we'll see you guys in 2026, man.
Yeah. Again, I want to thank you guys for another year of support, especially these last couple of months. You know, the support that we've been getting has been nothing short of amazing. I want to thank all of the guests that we had come on the show this year. You know, I really love the fact that we were able to get a couple of stories out, you know, that people may not have known and may still not have known if they didn't make an appearance on Real Fans Real Talk. So I definitely want to shout out all of the guests from this year. Nothing but love for you guys, or you ladies, you know, whichever one. We had both on the show this year. And just keep rocking with us going into 2026. We're gonna keep putting this work in for y'all. It's all about Real Fans Real Talk and the Sanchez Show. That ain't gonna stop no time soon. And y'all just be safe, man. Have a safe, prosperous New Year. If you're gonna be outside for New Year's, just be safe. Keep your head on the swivel, man. Especially if you in New York. It gets spicy out here in New York. So just be safe. Pray it up with your family and just get home safe to your family on New Year's if you are gonna go out. With that being said, make sure that you guys are following us on all our social media: Instagram, Twitter at Real Fan Talk, Facebook.com/Real Fans Real Talk. And if you're not in the New York City area and you can't watch us on Verizon 43 BPN2, 8 to 9 p.m. on Thursday nights, do not worry. All you got to do is click the red button on the homepage at realfansrealtalk.com, and you can watch from anywhere in the world. And make sure you guys are subscribed to the two best podcasts moving. That's the Real Fans Real Talk and the Sanchez Show podcast. Streaming on all major platforms. All right. So for myself, Trip Young, my brother, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games, we up out of here. Peace.
Happy New Year, y'all.
Sir, Happy New Year.
This is Deion Grant from the New York Giants, Super Bowl champ, and you're watching Real Fans Real Talk.
Live from the can. Vibe the can.
This is Real Fans Real Talk. Real Fans Real Talk. We as real as you thought. Real fans.